Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to go over 5 things you may not know about 4K Blu-ray. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I'll put a link for that in the description. Okay, for today's video, I came up with an idea about mostly things that I look at in the comments and people asking, and it kind of made me want to put together a little bit of a list, 5 items that I feel a lot of people don't know about 4K Blu-ray. Now, this may also be geared towards the new adapter, the people that really just get into the hobby, and also you may have been around for a while and you just might find things that you don't know. I mean, there's a couple on this list I can think of. So we're gonna go over 5 things that I feel a lot of people don't know about 4K Blu-ray. Now, also just let me know in the comments below if you feel I missed anything or what you would add to this particular list. So let's jump right in. So the first thing I want to touch on is something that, believe it or not, a lot of people kind of comments about in the comment section. They really don't have any clue. Is the fact that 4K Blu-rays are region free. Now, unlike DVDs and Blu-rays, which have a specific region coded to that country of origin, 4K discs definitely don't, for the most part. So if anything comes out, let's say over in the UK, for instance, the John Carpenter films, a lot of those like Escape from New York and The Fog, those were designed for over at the UK, but I can easily import those over here, and I have done so, and you can play them on your 4K player, no problem. There's no need to jailbreak the player, unlike over on the Blu-ray side of things and DVD, where if you bought a Blu-ray over at the UK, chances are you wouldn't be able to play it here on an American player. So that's a cool thing about 4K Blu-ray, is they did away with the region locking. They're free to import, and from the UK to America, vice versa, and anybody that carries 4K, it can benefit from this. So that's one of the cool things that I really dig about 4K Blu-ray, is the fact that they're region free and they're not going to require any kind of special player to utilize that particular disc. All right, the second thing that a lot of people don't realize about 4K Blu-ray is it's all about the HDR and the Dolby Vision. Now, back when I had my first 4K TV, that did not have a good layering of HDR on it. It did not provide HDR. I caught it just at the beginning of the format, and it really was trying to find its way in that regard. Now, when I would compare a Blu-ray disc to the same movie that came in 4K, I noticed while there was a good uptick in the resolution, it didn't blow me away. It didn't really just sell me on like what the format could do. It wasn't until I got an HDR capable TV, which also would be able to support Dolby Vision, that I really noticed what 4K was all about and why it was worth the investment. Now, there are certain 4K titles that do come out from smaller studios, which I'll touch on in a little bit, that do not have that HDR and that Dolby Vision, and it's just that resolution change. And it's noticeable to a degree how much there's difference, but it wasn't anything that was going to move units. It's all about that HDR10 and that Dolby Vision, which they provide, that gives you that color, that pop of natural color, and also over on animation and nice little enhancements. Black levels are very deep and just really inky, and also detail looks spectacular. It brings out that extra little bit of crevices and creases, and clothing textures all look good. It's all about that HDR Dolby Vision. It really is the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand when considering moving over to 4K Blu-ray. Now, we're at the point in the format cycle that all the major studios have invested into 4K. Paramount, Disney, Sony, Warner Brothers. I even did a studio breakdown of who produces the best as far as 4K content goes. I'll go ahead and link that at the end of this video. But what a lot of people don't realize is, especially now, is smaller studios are investing into 4K. It's still very kind of at the beginning. There's very little at the moment, but it's still coming, and it's still like little boutique kind of studios such as Shout Factory, Arrow Video, Wellgo USA, Blue Underground, RLJ. These are all smaller distributors and studios that have content they're releasing in 4K. So there's a lot of stuff that is coming to the format that is a little bit more niche and a little less known, but also some good classic stuff. You know, like the Deer Hunter was recently released on 4K. And over on Arrow Video, they're getting ready to release Pitch Black, starring Vin Diesel. So those boutique studios are really starting to step up. They're really starting to put their effort and their, you know, resources into 4K, and maybe even Criterion is going to jump in. I mean, there's a lot of rumors flying around about them, but these are all smaller studios that are investing into the format, and I think that's a very exciting and cool thing. Now, unfortunately, my fourth thing is something that I've noticed recently that is kind of a pattern, and I'm not sure why some certain studios are doing this, but when it comes to 4K, you are pretty much guaranteed to get the best audio source that is available on the format. It's no longer Blu Ray, and there's certain studios that, while Warner Brothers and to a degree Paramount and Universal are all like, they're utilizing Dolby Atmos as far as 4K and Blu Ray. But I noticed there's certain studios, like Disney being one, and Universal a couple occasions, as well as Sony. They're on the Blu Ray side of things, they're usually DTS 5.1, whereas the 4K will get a full Dolby Atmos. I don't agree with that decision. I really think audio, you know, if it's able to be supported on a Blu-ray disc, which it should be, many Blu-ray discs support Dolby Atmos. It's pretty much not a guarantee on the Blu-ray format as the dominant format any longer. It's really kind of a sad thing, but 4K, you are going to be getting the best in Dolby Atmos or DTS:X. Those are things that, you know, if it's available, it's going to appear on that format. So just be aware that certain Blu-ray titles now, especially the more recent releases from Sony and Disney in particular, are following that trend. But hey, if you're a 4K supporter, you are definitely getting the best as far as the audio presentation goes. And the last thing that I want to point out that a lot of people don't know about 4K Blu-ray is classic movies look amazing. And I would even argue to a point where the differences from the standard Blu-ray are going to be probably a lot more noticeable, especially in the older titles. Movies like Apocalypse Now, 2001, The Shining, for example. Those are just three examples of movies that were shot on film, and just classic movies that just look amazing on 4K. I mean, with the added benefit of HDR Dolby Vision, they really are just wonderfully enhanced, and they look spectacular. Even movies that have always looked really bad. I always felt that the Blu-ray edition of Scarface didn't look good. It looked, you know, too murky, too dark. But that on the 4K format looks great. It looks spectacular. It's best I've ever seen it, and it still retains that film grain. They don't clean that up, and it's to a degree where it's like, you know, scrubbed like with DNR, but it looks, those films look great. They look spectacular and are an amazing thing that a lot of people just really, I mean, look at The Wizard of Oz. Like, that looks breathtaking. And once again, going back to the HDR Dolby Vision point, that wouldn't be possible without those aspects. And it's really just a good thing that those classic films are given the love and treatment on the 4K format, and those are things that you really want to particularly watch out for if you're a fan of classic movies. So that is my top 5 list of things you may not know about 4K Blu-ray. Let me know in the comments below what are some other things that you would include on that particular list. But hopefully this video was a little bit helpful to you if you're new getting into the format, or if you've been around for a little while and just didn't know a couple of these points. So let me know in the comments below what you think. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification to put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.